Welcome back to J-Max Customs and Fabrication. Slim's up here for the weekend, so we've been over in the other shop working on his Forerunner, the 4-crawler that he's building. So I haven't been over here welding and working on this because I've been tied up with that. I've got some metal pieces cut for the cross member that holds the bottom 4-link bars. I cut these, they'll saddle over the 4x2 square tubing, weld to the frame, and then I'll weld this to the 4x2 square tube so that I'm not welding on the frame itself any more than I have to, because that can make your frame weak. The way I was designing the cross member under there, I was going to do it like we did on his Forerunner, where it sticks out and then it bolts on. And with the cab doing this number like it does, everything engine, transmission, transfer case wise will always come out the top. I can weld all of my cross members and my skid plates and everything on the bottom solid and permanent, because nothing has to go out the bottom. Anytime that we have like an access problem with any bolts or anything that I can't get from the top, I'll put an access on the bottom to where you can get your arm up in there and get it loose. But this cross member no longer has to stick out like this to where I can put a couple bolts in it. So I want to cut it off closer to flush with the frame so that I can put this bracket in there that'll reinforce the frame. So this will go on that like that. This is cantered just out of spite, I think. It doesn't have anything to do with what I'm doing, but that'll saddle that, and then I can burn in a really good weld here so that you can take these 2 bolts out, drop the cross member out to where you could take your transmission out the bottom. But I don't need that anymore, and I don't want this sticking out because I want my boat sides to come this way. I'm going to measure this now, get it equal on both sides, and then we'll mark it this way like that. Then my cross member only has to be like 1/4 of an inch longer than that, to where I have a good surface to weld to. And I have these on my table, and I'll be cutting another pair of them probably and putting them on the inside too, just to make that too strong instead of not strong enough. But right now I'm trying to get this cross member welded in. I have to build this other one here yet to put on the other side. I'll get this cross member pulled out of here. I might have Slim help me get my TIG over here. We're getting the rear axle under his rig right now. Get it buttoned up enough, put it over here in this section to where we'll have both of our builds going on in this shop. I still haven't got any propane, but the plan is to have both rigs in here to where I can have the welder and everything all set up. His is on the 2-post right now. I don't have a 2-post in this shop yet. And it comes over here, then I'll have heat over here, and then I can do all of the welding and fab work, finishing touches on both of those rigs. Hopefully, fingers crossed, I can get both of those rigs done in time to go to Sand Hollow. That's the plan. But the jump in between shop and shop doesn't work. Right now, neither shop is fully set up for it because I got stuff over here and stuff over there, and it's not ideal. So let's get our weld on here. Rather than worrying about measuring this frame and marking everything out and whatnot, I'm actually going to use these saddles as my mark. And I'm just going to hold them tight against the frame here, and I'll mark it that way, because if I come in here and kind of guess over the edge of this where my tape measure won't reach the flat side, and then try to add the thickness of this and everything to this and try to get it right, chances are it won't be right. So I'm just going to use this as my marker, put it on there, hold it tight, mark both sides, and then I can measure it and center my marks, because then I can measure how far apart they are, make sure I'm centered, and cut these off where I want them. Then we'll bring it back over here and weld it up. Got one that works over there. Okay, this one doesn't.
thought that was the big ones.
38 1/4.
What?
What's half of it?
It's 18?
No. 18 what?
19.
What's half of a quarter?
Half of a quarter, 15.
What?
So 19 and half of a half.
Half of a half is a quarter.
So a half of a quarter. 12 and a half.
What?
12 and a half is half of 25. What? Why are the rims look so small on these big tires?
Because I got it to where it's a 17-inch rim instead of a 20. So you got more sidewall play. So you can conform around the rocks better. What's half of 375?
375?
Yeah.
Don't quite know. Did you put some of the firewall back in?
I worked at it, then I cut it back out. Because I gotta cut this off again, and I want to make sure this is in the middle. Do I have a square over there? Yeah. I can see it.
Why do they call it a square with a triangle?
What?
Why do they call it a square with a triangle?
Because it marks stuff square.
You have to cut it off right here?
Yeah. I don't want it sticking out. Cut
So-
that off, weld that on, build that bracket, weld it on, put the front end back under it, hook the links up, and then I gotta build it.
How are you gonna have it where it's not just sitting on the oil pan? Like,
Well, that's what I was just about to say, and then I gotta build something that goes from the top of the axle up to the bottom of the frame to hold it up. I was thinking I wanted to put the radiator in and build the uprights and put my tube in here and then just run my eccentric, just bolt it solid on this end so it can't move and then put my rods from there to the axle, but holy crap, everything takes time.
you might be able to have it ready to go by the end of the day tomorrow.
Well, hopefully your rig's over here, but I think there's any way we could just get your rig over here,
That really,
even if we just drug the frame over here so I could weld everything so I don't have to tear everything apart.
if we got the back axle thing put together somewhat, where it would like right on the axle.
We could probably get it to where your rear axle will stay under with the ratchet straps. Okay, I gotta cut this. Take that front right off. Don't lose the nuts in the jump.
What do you want me to do? What?
The front driveline off. Don't lose the caps. Don't let them fall off of the driveline to where you lose all the needles.
What's that? Turn it off. Turn it on.
What do you?
Probably turn it off.
Probably.
Well, that's my car right now. While you weld that. Huh?
Everything we gotta do is put the body back on it. And then we'll figure out how to get the rear end to where it will stay under it so we can move it over here.
Oh, okay. Okay, come back. You made it up. We're gonna try this. He's videoing you. Are you videoing yourself?
No, my battery died.
Oh, well, here, you could have mine on.
You could just video that.
Video what?
Huh?
Video what?
What I did?
Well, you tell them what you did.
Well, zoom in on me. Okay, I got this side welded up. I got 5 of the 6 plug welds and everything. All of my brackets are welded up. So I just have to get the other side of this welded up and I have to build that. But that's not going anywhere. It's really hot. That battery's about to die too. That other side's gonna suck. I gotta crawl up under there. I can't do it like this. You should have made it to where it hinged on both sides.
You can make it where, like...
No, you can't.
Why?
Because everything goes in the firewall over there. I can do that because it works, but it won't work over. I'll spot that other side better to where I can take the jack out from under it to where I can put it. All right, it seems like we're going backwards. Got it all stripped down. Front axle's over here now, but I got this all cleaned up, and I've got my truss piece all cut out and ready to go on. So I'll be welding that on. Give you a little shot at what it looks like here. That's pretty much how it goes. And then there'll be a thick piece of 3/8 or 1/2 inch that goes across the top of the pumpkin there. And then we'll build the other side out. And I'll come over here and I'll weld all of this to this front plate, and then the back plate I'm going to build it so that I can weld it to the main structure, be able to weld the back side of it to all the webbing. It'll be a little different, but we'll get this front piece stitched in here, then I'll start. The back piece will basically be this piece. I'll break it like where this is at. It won't cover up the front of this, of course, because the links have to run out the back, and so it'll be open in the back, so any dirt and everything that gets caught in here can just go out the back, keep the water and everything from building up in here, snow when we're blowing through the snow and stuff. But I'll weld this front one on from the back side, and I'll weld up all these inside structures and stuff while I'm there. I can throw my spacer in here while I weld these ears so that they don't deflect. But I built these ears in one piece so that they go from the axle up to the link all in one piece, so they're good and strong. There's no welded joint from the axle up to the link itself. So I'll get this front welded on and move along, and we'll get this axle buttoned up and get it shoved back under there, get the 4-link all buttoned up, and have the front end locked in. Once I have this plate across the front here, then the hydraulic steering ram will come off of this plate forward here and sit out here in front of the axle. So we're moving along. Just fabrication takes a minute. We'll get this done and move on to the next thing. Keep watching. Of course, you can't just take off across here welding, or your axle tube will warp just like everything else. And then everything quits being in a line and you'll start burning up bearings and everything else. You got to do, a little bit at a time. Let it cool. Do a little bit more. Let it cool. Patience. Patience. I'm gonna act like I don't know better and weld those without the joints in them. See what happens. I'll put a good tack up here towards the top so it shouldn't let it walk too much on me. I already have those tacks on the front there. That's looking pretty good. You can tell I got it hot, so it should all be stuck together. I'm gonna let that cool a little bit. Instead of doing this truss on the back in pieces, I cut these lines in here, and they line up with the pattern there. I gotta grind the spot welds off his backside so it'll fit tight. Thanks for watching. Like, share, and be sure and hit that subscribe button if you haven't so that you don't miss out on the next thing that happens, because it's just a matter of days until, fingers crossed, we can see this thing move on its own power. Till next time, good luck to everybody.